All right. I got about 3 minutes and I think 52 seconds into this video before, and I realized I kind of just wanted to react to it already, just because the last two videos from Kyle have been um, all of the questions that everyone who ever introduced to guns has. It's such a good resource. It's so nice to be able to like go through like someone learning everything for the first time and like all the questions that come up because they're just eternally relevant. So for this one, I rewinded where she actually enters the convention center. I've got my emotional support AR-10 this time. This is my baby of all my guns. This is my favorite by far. So this will be our prop today for demonstrating anything that needs to be demonstrated. We are clear. Yeah. Anything I gotta show off, I'll be using this to point to. It's got the most accessories and stuff like that to really go over. The most things I can exemplify. Also, it's just cool. It's big, fun. I love this thing. How can you not love this? Alrighty. Without any further ado,
Like a little chopped. So sorry about that. I tried my best. But
it's
I
fine.
guess like for some reason, I don't know, I had some big reaction to alcohol. Started getting lactic acidosis. But anyway, here we are in the gun room. You can see it's a kind of small showroom. I don't know if this is huge or big. I think it was kind of big for what you can see here. There's a lot of do not touch signs, and
Which is really strange to me because normally at gun shows, like it's kind of expected you're gonna handle firearms. There's a lot of signs like no drinks, so you don't like spill anything on them. But handling is. I've never seen a gun show where you couldn't handle the firearms. I wouldn't buy a gun I wasn't allowed to handle. Now maybe they just want you to ask first, which is something, but I mean, little little odd to me.
unfortunately, I just did not recognize that whatsoever. So you're going to see me touch like 6 million guns here. Like here I am touching a gun. Sorry about that. I didn't I didn't register the do not touch sign, and I think it's kind of funny because when I used to vend at conventions and stuff like that, I used to have signs right in front of people's faces that say, "Hey, here are our prices," stuff like that, and people would be like, "Hey, excuse me, what are the prices?" And I'm like, "Oh, the sign's right there." And they never noticed it, but lo and behold, I did the exact same thing where I saw a bunch of do not touch signs and it did not even register. Here are some cute little handmade knives.
So they always say handmade. They're usually not. They're usually imported from Pakistan. Make it look like it's Damascus. Um, it's usually not a great sign. Sometimes it's actually a knife maker. Usually they're lying to you, and they're just selling you like a $20 Damascus Pakistani knife for like $60. Be very careful about that. No, knowing knives and getting into like nice blades and things like that is about as much of a rabbit hole or a journey as learning guns is. So maybe one of those for now, and maybe we get into the next one later. But yeah, so my little short spiel for this. What is Damascus and why do people pay more? It looks pretty. What is the actual reason? So Damascus, where you get those little wave patterns, like uh, what these little wave patterns, right? What causes the way this is supposed to work is you use two different types of steel and you layer them over each other, kind of like how a katana works. And this was a way to, if you had only a little bit of like the good steel, you could with like good steel has flex, so that like it can bend without snapping, whereas like mild steel or like iron will kind of just shatter, kind of like glass, right? So in back in ye olden days when access to good steel was limited, you could use this to stretch a little bit of the good stuff throughout the entire blade, while the bulk of it is made out of the cheaper stuff, and it adds a little bit of flex and a little more durability. So it was great when you had not a lot available. People think it's still magically great. If you just have enough of the good steel, there's no reason really do it aside from looks. You don't get any benefit from it, despite what people say. But it's like a buzzword for marketing because people just think it means it's better. But even then, most of the time today, when someone says, "Hey, it's a way to avoid being asked what kind of steel is this," because they just say Damascus, and that say it's most people. Damascus is not a type of steel. You can use any two types of steel. Is it stainless steel? Is it high carbon? Is it spring steel? These are answers that actually tell you something about what you're buying. But when they just say Damascus, it's usually a way to just avoid saying it's stainless steel. It'll be one or maybe two if it's actually Damascus, of like the shittiest, cheapest stainless steels they can find, like cheapest on the market, which means they're fragile and like, not great. So just generally speaking, it's kind of a red flag. And again, usually it's not even real. They just use some acid to etch into the side of the blade and pretend that it's that. I am also, remember, I'm medieval weapons nerd. I like my knives, I like my blades, I like my swords. I care about steel. Now, a lot of people don't actually care because if all you're going to do is use it to open boxes and maybe once a year skin a deer, it doesn't matter what the fuck knife you have, really. So use anything. A sharp rock could do that. So it doesn't really matter. But if you're gonna do actual like camping, bushcraft, anything like serious that needs an actual knife that will hold up long term, that's where it matters.
Practical kind of environments because I don't know, it makes me feel like I want to go camping and like I want to be prepared. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
really want a knife now. All of a sudden.
I can recommend knives, but like, hold on. If you want a knife, God damn it. On my, yeah, you can definitely get it for less than 75. So this is what I carried on my kit in the army. This went through so many field problems with me. I have pried metal with that thing. I did so much shit with it. It was awesome. I went to bed one night when we were attached to a special forces group. I went to bed. I got my boots off next to my head. I got my head on my ballistic vest, and that's how we slept. The knife was on the side of my vest, right about here, like tipped down. So, grab and pull. I woke up and the knife was no longer on my vest, and my boots were missing. That was great. I was so glad I had an extra set of boots. But yeah, my like $200 boots gone. The Glock knife you get it for like $30. It's like the standard for combat knives, right? They're pretty nice. I have this leather sheath off of Etsy. I have that one. Glock knife is pretty nice. The newer models have the serrations or the sawback. The older ones don't. That's a case of people realizing combat knives aren't really useful very much for combat anymore because serrations are about the worst thing you can possibly have on a weapon. There's a reason you don't see serrated swords in history. Because serrations, if you like stab someone, they get caught in the fabric, they get stuck, and we talked about how last time bullets don't kill people fast. Knives kill people even slower. So usually in a knife fight, both people get stabbed 15 times. The only thing worse than that is if your knife gets stuck in them. So now you're being stabbed and you can't stab them back because your knife is stuck. Serrations are bad for a weapon, but if it's a tool, then it's great for like cutting cordage and stuff. So as combat knives stop really being weapons and just become utility knives, you see serrations appear, right? Good knife for camping. A Glock knife with the serrated back. You really can't go too wrong with that. It's a lot cheaper than the steel pop. It's also a lot longer, and it's not as good at cutting because it still is a very thick, long, like stab-centric blade. It works. It'll do you. Or else, let's see. Cold Steel is always just a decent brand, whatever they make. They make a lot of the knives for like the CIA, and unlike the Seal Pup, which is not used by SEALs as far as I know, the Cold Steel SRK or Shark or Search and Rescue knife, fantastic full size knife. I also have that sheath off Etsy. But fantastic little knife. This is actually when you play bugs as a SEAL, as far as I know, this is the one that they get issued. So this is actually the SEAL's knife, but it's Search and Rescue knife. This is of all my knives, the three of these listed. I was trying to remember the name. The Shark is by far, I think, the best. I love this knife a lot. Not the full size though. I have the SRKC, which is just about like I think an inch and a half shorter. The SRKC. I love this knife. The sheath is not great. That's why I got the Etsy one. I got a leather sheath on Etsy that can be worn sideways on the belt, so it doesn't hang down. And Yeah, fantastic knife. So you,
Here are some bigger guns. I don't know what this one is, but
that's a PS90 or some clone. So you know the P90 from like every video game ever. The PS90 is just a semi-auto only version with usually a longer barrel because the barrel length limit in the U.S. is 16 inches. If the barrel is under 16 inches, it is considered a short-barreled rifle. If it has a stock, if there's no stock, it's fine because you know it's a pistol. But if there's a stock and a barrel under 16 inches, that is illegal. Kind of maybe Brandon Herrera may have ended that. We'll see. He got a federal like nationwide injunction in federal court, but we're gonna see if they actually acknowledge and respect that or not. They technically can still appeal it, but so far the government said they're not going to appeal it. So barrel length might not matter anymore. But while we're still in that who knows what the fuck is happening phase, under 16 inches with a stock is illegal unless you pay an extra like $200 tax stamp, which you got rid of. So it's no one costs money, but you still need to file the paperwork for it, and then you gotta wait for approval. So it's basically illegal because you're not gonna be able to sit there and do that and wait at like a gun show. Which is why you have these fake faux suppressors. As long as they are attached to the barrel and welded on, so you can't just twist it off, it counts as part of the barrel length, so it looks like a suppressor, so it looks cooler, so that people don't, cry about it. As opposed to just a really long barrel that looks weird coming out of it. But it just is there to comply with barrel length laws, so it can count as a rifle. And this is a bullpup, which means on a bullpup, it means instead of like a traditional rifle, where the magazine is in front of the grip and the bolt is right here, so the barrel starts right here and goes to here. This is a 20-inch barrel. That's a traditional rifle. A bullpup is where the magazine is somewhere in the stock or behind the grip, so that the round loads right here, and then the barrel would start here. So 20 inches would be about there. So you'd have a shorter overall package, right? So it's a bullpup. The magazine goes in backwards, and it loads right here. The barrel starts here, and you get your probably just barely 16 inches. So yeah, that's the P90 or PS90 or some clone.
but this green one was really cool and circular. It looked like a video game gun.
Yeah, they're in every video game ever because they're very iconic. So PS90 or the P90 was basically the military was looking at how the Pogues didn't like carrying around big, heavy rifles that they never realistically were ever going to use, but they didn't want to give them just pistols, so they were looking into an option that they could carry that was lighter and more compact than a full-size rifle, but could still theoretically pierce at least soft body armor, so that if they ever did get attacked, behind the front lines by like an enemy commando unit or something like that, they would still have a fighting chance at defending themselves. Maybe, even though I'm gonna be real, I'm sorry, I don't think most non-combatants are going to do very well against a commando unit specifically targeting them, no matter what you give them. But I mean, they wanted them to have an option in theory, so they have an option in theory, right? Like that was the idea. So it's basically a miniature rifle round instead of looking at a normal pistol round, like the big bullet and like the straight walls. It looks like a miniature 5.56. God, these hiccups! Every time I sit down to do a video, I get hiccups. Scary. I wonder if I'm dying. Probably not. But yeah, it looks like a little miniature 5.56 round from like an M4. You were in the Air Force, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It looks like that, but like scaled down to like half size. So it flies really, really fast. So even though it's relatively small around, it has that velocity to pierce at least soft body armor, even if it's not going to pierce the plate. And then these are Roni chassis for a Glock. So you get a Glock or some other pistols. You can slide it in right here. Hold on. It slides in right here. This clips onto the back of the slide, right? Like it'd be a little like T handle like on an M4 that clips on right here, and then you can grab that and pull back like on a rifle to rack it. Basically, you drop a pistol in it and turn it into a submachine gun, right? Except it doesn't really extend the barrel. You can get an extended barrel and put it in, but it doesn't expand the barrel. It just gives you more contact.
I have no clue what any of this is.
And technically speaking, this is not a stock because it has that little like elastic hole you can open and stick your arm through to clamp it onto your arm. That makes it a brace, even though you can hand shoulder it like a stock. It's not legally a stock, so it skirts the law, and it lets you effectively turn your Glock into like a little submachine gun type deal, except it's still semi-automatic. So we would call that a pistol caliber carbine, or PCC. What is a carbine? It's either a pistol scaled up or a rifle scaled down. So the M4 is the carbine of the M16, because the M16 is the full 20 length or 20 inch, and then the M4 is the shorter 14 inch. By the way, this is not pointing at my hand. The depth perception on a camera that's scaring you. I'm sorry, but like it's not at me. But yeah, it's a pistol caliber carbine. It's a pistol scaled up to be more effective, kind of like a rifle, even if not quite.
Not gonna lie, I'm still kind of brand new to guns, but like
Yes,
firearms, kind of like excuse me, not firearms,
you're fine.
handguns, but
You're
not
fine.
so much the giant assault rifles and stuff like that.
This is a term that will piss a lot of people off. I understand why you're saying it, coming from you. That's why I'll say submachine gun, even though I mean PCC sometimes, because people understand what I mean. But these words have definitions. Obviously, a submachine gun has to be a machine gun. A machine gun means you hold the trigger down and more than one bullet comes out, right? So assault rifle is that has a real definition. So people get this mixed up with assault weapon a lot. So assault weapon is just a scary political term meant to scare people and make things sound like assault rifles and confuse people. So you can say, look at this, and say this is an assault weapon because it's supposed to confuse and scare you and make you think that it's like an assault rifle. Assault rifle means that it is an intermediate caliber, meaning it's not a full-size rifle round. This is a full-size rifle round. This is not an AR-15, this is an AR-10. It's like a full-size deer round. This is big bullets, but right. Assault rifle means an intermediate caliber, meaning it is between a pistol caliber and a real rifle caliber. Like the M4 fires 5.56. That is an intermediate caliber. It is very weak as rifles go. Okay. That said, assault rifle means an intermediate calibered rifle with selected fire. Select fire means you can go between semi-auto, which is right here. That's semi-auto. We're on semi. And then you have to have a second option, either be it burst or full auto. I don't have that. So even if this was in an intermediate caliber, it cannot be an assault rifle because it's not a machine gun. Right? That's what that means. Whereas assault weapon doesn't actually mean anything. There is no definition. It just is something that looks military-y.
So here, I believe, is this a short-barreled rifle?
If this was a stock, it would be a short-barreled rifle. Because instead of a stock, it is this brace, which just means that it's got that little strap, so you can, again, put your arm through it. Which, in theory, the idea behind a brace is it's supposed to be for disabled shooters, so you can strap a gun to your wrist, so if you only have one arm, it's easier to control, so that people with disability and only one arm can still participate in the hobby, is the idea. But people use them in place of stocks because putting a stock on makes it illegal. You put this thing on, you can still use it as a stock, but it's not a stock, so you're fine. So this is a legally this is a pistol because there's no stock and it's under 16 inches of barrel, which makes it a pistol. Yes, it's an AR. It's an AR-9, meaning it's an AR in 9mm, looks like. But even though it's an AR, because there is no stock, this might as well not exist. And it is a short barrel. It is a pistol.
I'm assuming because the barrel is short.
You could also call it a pistol caliber carbine, but generally those, words are there's a lot of overlap and blur between terms.
Or does that mean that you can like add
Legally, it's a pistol. Practically, it's a pistol caliber carbine.
an extension piece? Ugh, like I know nothing. I'm sorry, you guys.
These are more bullpups, so again, the grip is up there. The magazine is behind you, so that you get more room of barrel. The downside of a bullpup is that the balance is different from a traditional rifle. Some people like it, some people don't. And because the magazine is in your armpit, it can be rather awkward to reload while moving or laying prone.
Guys, I know absolutely nothing about. I do want to get an assault rifle at some point.
Good luck with that. Assault rifles start at like 20 grand new. Now again, you mean what we would just call a semi-automatic rifle. or a sporting rifle, like this AR, or this AK, or this SKS. If any of these three were fully automatic, they would be considered an assault rifle. Or if they had a burst fire, that would be an assault rifle. But because they are not, because they can't, they are just rifles. Or a sporting rifle, if you like that term.
I just don't know anything about them.
Um, you are more than welcome to reach out, and I'll ask what you want and why, and I'll give you some options at different whatever budget you want to stick to. I will happily help you out with that if you want to reach out.
But here's a lot of old fancy wooden guns.
Yeah, there's a Sturmgewehr 44. It's probably a reproduction. The Sturmgewehr is where the term assault rifle comes from. Gewehr is rifle or Gewehr, and Sturm is storm, like storming a building or assaulting a building. So it is a storm rifle. It's assault rifle. It is a rifle made for the purpose of storming into a building or a bunker. So you have to be able to have enough range to shoot at them as you're approaching, but then also be compact and controllable and rapid fire enough to operate kind of like a submachine gun in the age of World War II, that it's light enough and maneuverable enough to actually fight with indoors, because the full length, full size rifles in like bolt action most of the time obviously sucked indoors, right? So it's that middle ground. It's good for urban close quarters fighting where you can shoot down the street, but that's about it. Whereas a submachine gun is more like they're in the room with me. It's optimized, but if they're across the street, it's hard, and if they're across the field in the battlefield, it's rough. Then assault rifle is that middle ground of I can shoot across the field, okay. I can handle in the room with me, okay. But we're optimized for that, like down the road, so it can do everything okay. It's a jack of all trades. And a battle rifle is what this is, or would be if it were automatic, kind of. A battle rifle is where it's a full powered rifle round, and it's optimized for that across the battlefield battle rifle. When you think of like old school, like open field warfare in the wilderness, right? So this kind of is less useful in urban combat like the modern day, which is why we use assault rifles, not no quotes, just assault rifles in the military as our normal rifle, because most of what we do is urban warfare, which means we like that jack of all trades, we can do everything. But if you look like World War II, where most of the fighting was kind of, and before, when most of it was like in open fields in the wilderness, this makes a lot more sense, because it's really good at that long range stuff. It's okay at that down the street stuff, but it's really bad indoors with someone. Right. So everything is a sliding scale, like before, between shootability and concealability. There's also a sliding scale of long range versus close range optimization. Assault rifle is in the middle. Submachine gun is super optimized at close. Battle rifle is optimized for far. Right. And then sniper rifle is the other extreme, where it's optimized for really far away and it's kind of useless at close.
I don't know the significance, but some of them were in like glass displays. So much.
Yeah, lever actions tend to be quite expensive, especially if they're antiques. These go back to like the Civil War.
Assuming they're kind of like special. I'm assuming they're old too. I don't know if they make modern shotguns with metal, but like look at this one.
They do.
Remington 1858.
That is a sexy gun. I want one so bad. That is on my bucket list. I want an old cap and ball single action revolver so bad. Cap and ball means that you have to, you put the ball like a musket ball in the front of the cylinder and you press it down. And in a time hole, it would be you push a musket ball down into the cylinder on each one of these holes, flip it, and then there's a little lever that you push down like this that would push the round in, and then you would go on the back here, have these little percussion caps, the primer on your modern cartridges, and you manually put one on the back of each of these spaces in the cylinder. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's kind of like reloading twice, right? And then you got your 6 shots, which is why people carried like 2 or 3 or 4 for like cavalry usage, so that you could fire all of them without reloading. You'd be on your horse, you'd ride through, you'd shoot 6 times, 12 times the other gun, then you'd ride back, and then you'd reload somewhere safe, and then you'd go back out again, because reloading took a long time, and you were not realistically going to do that in the middle of a fight. So it's literally like 6 separate like muskets, but put together. It's really cool. I think they're awesome. I would not want to get into a firefight with them, but they're really cool.
A 44 cal. That's crazy. I wonder what the recoil on that. And here's some older guns.
So it's not 44 Magnum like today. It's just 44 caliber. So that's the size of the bullet. One caliber is I think 1 inch, right? So it's just under a half-inch bullet size.
I do like the older vintage guns. Just the looks and style of them look
Yeah,
really, really cool.
every gun today looks fucking identical. Old guns are sexy. They had personality and style. Also, I'm 30 minutes into recording, and we are 4 minutes into the video.
They look like antiques, which actually at this point they are definitely antiques. Here are some. I think they had like cutting boards, which are like boards you can do, like you can clean your gun on. I thought that was an interesting concept.
Interesting. All right.
More, I'm assuming shotguns.
Yeah, that's a shotgun.
More little pocket knives.
Yeah.
I did see a lot of these little like knives that you could press a button and it would shoot up.
Switchblades.
I don't know what it's called though.
Switchblade, where you press it does the thing. I think switchblades are dumb, personally. They used to be banned fully legal. I didn't agree with that, obviously, but now that they're legal again, I still think they're dumb, right? Because you can't have a actual folding knife is already fragile because that folding mechanism can fail, but at least there's like something solid there. Switchblades are even less sturdy because it's basically just a spring, right? So that's a higher chance of the knife breaking and failing on you. I just like fixed blades, right? Now, a folding knife is fine if like you are somewhere where if you carried a knife, it would look weird. I'm in Tennessee. I can just put a knife on my belt and nobody gives a fuck. So I just carry a knife. But if I weren't, like when I lived in Colorado, I just did a folding knife and that was fine. A switchblade to me is dumb. But I mean, if you like them, cool. Like there's a cool factor. It's just I like my practical rugged stuff that I can abuse and use as a tool. And a switchblade is generally not that.
A switchblade, maybe?
Yes, or sometimes just if you want to be technical, it's an out the front knife or an OTF knife.
Here are some more other little small knives. Small knives. I can't talk. I'm so sorry. Small guns.
A Luger. Yep. Okay.
I think that was a Luger. Maybe, but it's really cool to see how like antique and old they are.
Yes.
It was
Ruger.
really funny because I think
Luger and Ruger are not related.
like in order to have the guns here, they had to have them like locked up with a cord, or like they would have to unlock them in order for you to pick them up and hold them. But some of them obviously ran out of cord, so they were using audio cables. I thought that was kind of funny.
That's very funny.
Here's some more little handguns.
11s, okay.
It's called Cerakote when they're the different colors.
That's one way of doing it. Yeah.
For the longest time when I first got into guns, I really wanted to do a Cerakote on mine, like get a pink one or like a Tiffany blue one. But then I was like, yeah, that's kind of not exactly it's not exactly smart. And if I'm using a gun for an actual like concealed carry, it's not really smart to get it so brightly colored.
Brightly colored can help because if it like flashes out for a second, it doesn't look like a gun. Like black or stainless steel, people see that like a flash of it and they know exactly what it is. If it's like blue or pink, whatever. Usually my thing I warn people about with Cerakoting things is remember, if you shoot someone, there's gonna be a judge looking at this and like a jury looking at this while they try to decide if they think like you're innocent or not. And that can become relevant. Like there are cases where like someone's got something inscribed on the side of their gun, and they take that as evidence of premeditation. Like, oh, you were looking for a fight. But if you're a girl and you want a pink gun, I don't think that's gonna work against you in court. If anything, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. If anything, though, I could see a jury being swayed more by that to be on your side. Like, oh, it's just a girl. She wasn't trying to do anything bad. Because unfortunately, public perception matters in court, right? Juries are not made up of lawyers; they're made up of people, and emotional things and impressions do matter. So I'm gonna do whatever you want.
Here's some more other giant rifles or something.
It's hard to see from this angle if that's an AR or if that's. I think it's just an AR. some kind of bolt action.
Don't
Bergara. Oh yeah, okay. Bergara. Looks like a double barrel and then lever actions.
know. All of these were pretty reasonable priced. Usually around under $1,000.
Yeah.
Here's some optics. I'm assuming
ACOG.
shotguns or rifles.
There's a lot of ACOGs. If a rifle is if an optic is sturdy enough, you can put it on anything.
And some knives. This was an interesting little piece right here. I feel like that'd be a great kind of like brass knuckles.
Kind of. So something like that. The issue is more so. What do I have to demonstrate? I don't really have anything to demonstrate. Anyways, here's my carry magazine, my help ones. You grab something like that, right? Blades need to be aligned or they don't do anything. So as soon as that like rotates a little bit in your hand, so it's like an angle, and you try to hit something, and it does this, like it's not cutting, right? So, like, if you ever played Kingdom Come Deliverance, at the start of the game, Henry picks up a sword and tries to hit a stick, and he just knocks the stick over instead of cutting. Because if you don't keep the edge aligned properly, which is an actual skill you need to learn. Okay, we're working with a fire.
It's a little close. Yeah.
That's what happens. You smack him on the side of the sword instead. Something like that, where it's jutting out the side of your hand, can do that as well. It's not really for fighting necessarily. Something like that. It's more like I think those are almost like supposed to be a extra compact version of an axe for like splitting wood. Or it might be like one of those carpentry knives for like shaving the sides of something. I'm not really into carpentry. I wish I was that manly. Carpentry tools are expensive, and I'm in an apartment, and I don't have space for that. So one day I'll learn all that shit.
Except it's a knife. You know what I mean? I feel like that'd be a great situation. Here are some more. Just guns everywhere. I don't know what these are. I'm assuming these are barrels, and these I don't know what
Those are upper receivers. Oh, okay.
I don't know what these are.
See, those are upper receivers in different calibers, but they're all AR upper receivers. So you can put basically any upper on basically any lower, as long as it's the same family. So AR-15 uppers can go on AR-15 lowers. AR-10 uppers can go on AR-10 lowers. So these look to be all AR-10, considering they're 308 and 6.5 Creedmoor and everything. So they're probably AR-10 size, right? So this is an AR-10, right? So if I push these two pins out, they're very stiff on this gun. This gun is stiff. I got it. Okay. So it's just two pins on an AR, right? Then this comes apart. This is the lower. This is the part that is considered to be a weapon because this is the part with the trigger in it. So this is legally a gun. You have to do a background check for this to buy it. Do all the hoops. This is a gun. This is the lower. Okay? This is the upper for an AR-10. Okay? This is where the bolt is. This is where my scope is mounted. It's got all this stuff at the end. You have the barrel, right? This is just accessories. These are just firearms parts. This is not a firearm. You can order this online to your house. You can just buy this, no background check. This is just upper. If you can have one lower and have like 3 different uppers, because you can have maybe be like, oh yeah, I want my like sniper setup upper receiver where it's got the long barrel and the scope. You have a second upper that is like maybe only this long of a barrel, and you have a red dot on it, and then you can hit 2 buttons and switch them out. All right, this thing is stiff, but generally speaking, it's about that simple. Or different calibers. If 2 different calibers use the same magazine, like 6.5 Creedmoor can go into a 308 magazine, right? Then you can have a caliber switch set up. So I can have a 308 setup, which is this one, and then I can also have a 6.5 Creedmoor setup. 6.5 Creedmoor is like an extreme long-range precision round. A little bit less powerful, so it's for smaller game. Like you can shoot like coyotes and stuff with it, but you maybe wouldn't shoot as big of an animal as you would with 308. But you can do it at a much longer distance, or it's better for competition. So I have this is my combat slash like range setup, and then I have 6.5 for specifically competition shooting, right?
I'm assuming these are barrels, and these, I don't know what these are either.
That's the charging handle right here. But you're Air Force. If you're not like you qualified with an M4, right? So I want you that. But there you go. This is a charging handle. This one is from Strike Industries. Yeah, Strike Industries. It's got this little extended piece that I can reach, even though the scope would normally be in the way otherwise. So if I want to rack it, I just grab the side here and pull. Right. While I wait for. Let me put this back. YouTube AI, I'm being good. I didn't do it. I did not do it. Don't be mad at me, YouTube AI. I did not show it. Yeah. There's one that's called like the Mjolnir, like Thor's hammer or whatever, as like marketing. But yes, yeah, they're the little T-shaped charging handle on the back of an AR. Right. And those are extended so that they're easier to grab, and you can grab them with like a scope or something in the way.
I don't know what it is. I was like, God, how am I gonna do the commentary for this video if I don't know what anything is? I'm gonna be like, this is you know, I'm trying.
Yeah, usually I just go with people so I can explain like what stuff is in person, and I can decide what they want if they want anything. Right? Like, this whole after the fact thing is like, wow, that's some great info, but like, probably not very helpful to you anymore.
I'm trying. Here are some more Cerakoted.
Those are pistol barrels. Those are slides.
Rolls?
Yes.
Oh God.
Good job. Hell yeah.
God, my faith. Everyone's faith in me is dying in this video as far as my intelligence level. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Over here,
You're doing fine.
there was more tactical stuff. There was like bags and stuff. I thought these bags are so cute. I just like them. They remind me of the military. But over here, some people were selling MREs.
Yep.
There was a cute older couple, and they were just so adorable. They convinced me to buy one, so I picked up a little MRE I can try later with them.
Hello.
Hello.
You ever tried these?
Lunch. I have tried these actually.
Last year's case.
Oh,
Fresh. And they got new menus with people maybe.
I see that.
No refrigeration necessary and no cooking.
I see.
No cooking.
Think them on your next outing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or a new
Oh my god, I love that one.
That'd be a top of the office.
The beef
What do
bag.
you think
Okay.
is the tastiest?
I don't know. Different people have different tastes.
I see. I'll try. Let's see.
Chicken chunks always popular because it's got like more snacks.
Maple flavor, Italian sausage.
Even the chicken chunks themselves aren't great, but yeah. What do you get? What do you get? What do you get?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
They get the books on how to convert a Glock to full auto. That's fantastic.
It's funny. I actually cut out a lot of the transaction itself. Older, I think they're kind of funny. I think they're charming. I think this.
I'm the opposite way. I thought they were cool when I was in like high school, and then I got into the army, and then I immediately was like, yeah, this is I don't want to be seen in any of these.
Closer look at the old-fashioned guns.
Yeah.
This, I don't know what it was, but it was just a deer hoof, like a deer leg.
Nice.
So,
I
you know.
don't know what that is either.
Oh, you never know if you'll need that. These were some really, really nice. I think he said the blue one was Black Rain.
Black Rain
assault
Ordnance?
rifle.
Black Rain Ordnance, they're alright.
1.5 pound trigger on it. He actually let me pick it up and hold it and dry fire it, and the trigger was so soft. It was insane.
Yeah.
I will say, here we go with a classic do not touch sign, and then me like picking up the gun. So again, sorry about this.
And
I think
9.
this is this a Beretta 92?
Yes.
Maybe? Or,
Assuming it's not a clone. I can't really see the the labels on it, but it could always be a clone.
M9. It looked like a Beretta style. I'm not so sure.
You are correct.
But when I see how strong some of these gigantic assault rifles are, I'm like, ooh. I kind of see the argument of why they're like, okay, I don't think regular civilians should have access to these such high-powered.
Okay, so again, definitionally, to be an assault rifle, it has to be an intermediate cartridge, which means it's not powerful. They aren't. This is a battle rifle. This is more powerful than any assault rifle. This is 308. If I go over here, hold on. The humble 12 gauge is more powerful than any rifle will basically ever be. So, power. This is a Mosin Nagant. This is, again, more powerful than basically anything that you would consider an assault rifle. This thing, people shoot this and say, ow, even though it's all heavy and all wood. People shoot this and say, ow, and don't want to shoot it again. This is from 1929. Everyone's dad on Earth has something more powerful than an assault rifle. Alright, hold on. Okay, let's do some lecturing. This is a 5.56 round compared to a 9mm. Right? See the difference? The 9mm bullet is actually way larger than this thing. It just has a little bit more gunpowder, right? Because the casing goes, because after the neck is where the powder starts being stored, right? It's got about double the storage for gunpowder, but it's a smaller round. Okay? So that is actually smaller than a handgun. This is a 308. This is what my AR-10 fires. This is what you use as like the minimum for like deer hunting. This is infinitely, it's a larger round and it's significantly more gunpowder. This is more powerful than anything any assault rifle will ever fire. And it's been used in like every bolt action wooden style hunting rifle ever for the last like basically since World War II. This is a World War II era 7.62 by 54R for that Mosin Nagant there. This is much larger again. This is significantly more powerful. Guns are getting less powerful, not more. It has never been... Power has never been an issue anyone is concerned about. Why do militaries move from giving this to everybody to giving this to everybody? Purely because it's easier to train someone to shoot this. That's why. Because this doesn't kick as much, so it's easier to teach someone to use. This is less powerful. This is orders of magnitude less powerful, and this is the most common assault rifle round on the planet. This is 5.56. So that's... I understand why you would think that, but that's just not the case. The military uses what is easiest to get everybody okay at using, because they don't want to spend that much money making everyone an expert with firearms when getting everyone kind of okay is enough, because there's a lot of you. Alright? But it is... An AR-15 is not powerful. As cartridges go, it's actually very weak. In Fallujah, there's an average of something like 12 hits to put people down. Some of that's to do with drugs. A lot of it's just to do with the fact that it's a very small round going very fast. So instead of like a modern hollow point where it goes and it hits someone and it expands with like a pistol round and like, you know, it mushrooms out and it stops in someone. It has a kinetic energy dump as all of the kinetic energy of the bullet transfers into the body because it stopped. This is a little fast round that goes in and out and through, so it doesn't have the kinetic energy dump. It just puts a little hole in you, a little hole in and out, and then you're bleeding. Right? So, like, it's specifically not powerful. it'll kill someone eventually, and that's good enough for the military because you can just shoot him more, and there's like 12 of you in a squad, so you can all shoot him, and eventually he'll stop moving. Right? It's just not how like the movies portray it. But yeah, I understand why it seems scary because they want you to be afraid of it because it's politics, and that's how they get people to go ahead with bans and things by lying to you and making you think things are scarier than they are. Trust me, you want to get shot by this one a lot more than you want the hollow point 9mm. And you definitely want to get shot by this one more than you want to get shot by this one. Or a 12 gauge shotgun. And shotguns are a lot cheaper than most semi-automatic rifles. And, like, exempt from every weapon ban, like, ever, even like the most anti-gun states. Shotguns are scary. Shotguns are the ones you don't want to get shot by.
Machines. Here's some other, like, customized guns in the case. Here are some pretty pink ones. It's very funny. Whenever I see, like, quote-unquote female guns, like pink and purples, it's always very, very vibrant.
Yeah.
Pink. It doesn't look girly pink. It looks like a man made a girl gun. Does that make sense?
Yes, it
I
does.
think that's kind of funny because it always looks kind of tacky.
I agree. I think Cerakote in general usually looks
like these
tacky.
little Tiffany blue ones, though. They are really pretty.
Generally, if you're not doing black or stainless steel or like a flat, dark, like tan or green or something, I tend to think it looks tacky.
Here's some more rifles. I don't know what these are, but they're
They're-
big and they are very pretty. I still
They're a lot of
wanted a
AR-15s.
curved gun that looked like a video game gun that was like a light green.
The
like you showed
PS90.
earlier. I kind of like whatever that thing is.
PS90, yeah. It's small. It's easy to control.
I kind of like it. So
Yeah.
I gotta find my first rifle. I'm assuming these are. Okay, this is gonna sound dumb. This is not a sniper rifle, is it?
Sniper rifle is one of those terms where it doesn't really mean anything. Sniper is an action. If you use it as a sniper, then it's a sniper rifle. If you use it to hunt, it's a hunting rifle. There is back in World War II, this was used a lot as a sniper rifle, but it was also the general infantry rifle for the Soviet Union. So like every Russian dude got one. So it was also the battle rifle. In the modern war in Ukraine, this thing is still around, being used as a designated marksman rifle for designated marksmen in like National Guard units. So it depends on the role it's being used for. And in the modern day, you'd probably just call this a hunting rifle because it's wooden and looks non-threatening, even though this would basically cut you in half. Like, it's a big gun, right? It depends on the use. If there's a designated marksman for a designated marksman rifle is if you are the one guy in a squad of people with shorter ranged weapons. If you're the one guy with longer ranged things, so you can give them support against further ranged threats, or more accurate fire against nearer threats, then you're a designated marksman, and it's a marksman rifle. This is bolt action. It can still be used as a marksman rifle if you're a marksman for a squad. That said, if you take the same rifle and you go off alone or in a 2 or 3 man team, then you're acting as a sniper. So it's down to use case. You could absolutely call any of those a sniper rifle. Although these look like air rifles to me. Yeah, Umarex. Yeah, those are air rifles. Those are air guns. That's for like not airsoft, air gun. So it uses air pressure to fire. Yeah, it uses compressed air to fire a round with enough force to usually hunt small game like squirrels, rabbits. The largest air guns can handle like a deer.
It looks like a sniper like mechanism, and it looks like a rifle. So is this a shotgun or is this a sniper rifle?
It's an air rifle.
I'm assuming, I don't know. And then you have these pretty looking guns.
Yep,
I don't
those
know
are more
what they
AR-15s.
are. But they're
So if you're in this general shape here, the AR-15 is just this piece here, right? See this piece here, the exact same piece that's there, and the exact same piece that's there, right? That is the AR-15. Then this is an upper receiver. You can take this upper receiver off and put it on any of these, and then the stock is just a stock. That's why the AR is so popular as a platform, is that it is extremely modular because it's open source, right? It is super common. Anyone on Earth, any gun manufacturer can make their own parts that fit the platform, right? So you have endless customization. You can build exactly the gun that you want. For example, hold on. So this is an AR-18 or a BRN-180. Instead of the T handle back here, it is a side charging handle here mounted directly to the bolt. I like this way better because I don't like T handles. I think they're stupid. I find them uncomfortable to reach for. I don't like them. So this is just... You have so many ways to reach it. It's so easy. Right? You can do either hand nice and easily. I like this so much more. But it still goes on an AR-15 lower. It is just a different upper receiver with a different type of bolt. Right? I like this so much more. I don't have to unshoulder it. I can keep so steady and just go womp. I love this rifle. So this is an AR-15 lower, so it's technically an AR-15, but again, it's the 18 style upper receiver, which is like a $1,600 upper receiver. From Brownells. So that's why it's gonna be like, oh wow, because with pistols they tend to look like kind of exactly the same if they're the same gun, right? Whereas the AR-15 is a platform. It's like saying a desktop computer. A desktop computer can be a lot of different things, like a lot of different ways, and be good at a lot of different things based on the parts you use to build it, right?
They're all so pretty. Oh my god. I feel like I'm just going to a museum. I'm like, oh, that's pretty, that's pretty, that's pretty.
Yeah, basically.
I'm just going to an art museum. I'm sorry, you guys.
Yeah.
I'll definitely start doing more vlogs of things that I'm a little bit more versed in because, like, again, this is kind of a...
No, do more of these. Let's get you versed. Let's get you versed.
Commentary. And then towards the back of the wall, I had this huge, gigantic wall of ammunition, and I was just thinking about this convention itself, quote unquote. I guess you can call it a convention. Yeah, it is kind of like a convention gun show. Was so like small that I don't think it'd be worth carrying all this heavy ammunition up the stairs. This guy was glaring at me for some reason, but he had really pretty guns in the case.
It's usually just because of a camera. A lot of people at gun shows.
I think me personally.
A lot of people at gun shows don't like cameras because they know that they're trying to scam people and they have prices way higher than is reasonable. As soon as they're on camera, they're on notice because like, ah, fuck. That's really what it is.
I would ever want an old vintage gun, maybe for collector's purposes, not necessarily for firing. But I do think they're pretty. They're pretty, but I don't think I personally would want one. Here's a gigantic wall of ammunition. Here is some target practice. I need to learn more about this too, because I think you put
the laser trainers. Yes.
Your gun, like the nozzle of your
gun,
whatever it's called. Is it the
muzzle
or the muzzle? I don't
muzzle.
know.
Muzzle.
The shooting area of your gun, and I think you can practice with that. I need to learn more about that.
Yeah, so it fires a laser out when you pull the trigger, and that laser can interact with the targets and tell you where you're shooting so that you can see how accurate you're being. Now, keep in mind, the laser will not actually hit exactly where your sights are, because it's not going to fly. A laser goes straight, bullets arc, right? Bullets go up and down, and they arc. A laser is straight. So it won't actually be accurate. It's not for that, but it's for controlling your trigger squeeze and being able to shoot more rapidly and all of that stuff.
That was the end of the gun show. Like I said, it was just a little small one in the Tuscany casino. This is such a tiny casino hotel that I've actually never even heard of this place before I saw the advertisement for the gun show. And now I'm gonna walk around just a tiny bit of the casino hotel itself.
Alright, if you want to see that, go watch her video, because I do like her. Again, I'm not really a VTuber guy. I'm enjoying these videos. But I'm here for the gun thing. I'm not here to like rip off her content or anything, you know. So I have my entire bed covered in gun, which is a good thing. Hooray. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna go over and start editing this. This was fun though. Thank you, Coyote, for all this content. I'm gonna watch the rest of this because I actually enjoy listening to you talk about random bullshit. But I'm not gonna record it.